Welcome back to Play Quiz. Welcome to Guess the War. Test your knowledge of history's greatest conflicts, battles, and turning points. We've got 50 challenging questions, each with 3 answer choices. Think you're a war history expert? Grab a pen, challenge your friends and family, and let's find out. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun quizzes. Let's begin. 1. Which war began in 1914 and ended in 1918? Correct answer, World War I. World War I involved over 30 nations and was sparked by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. 2. What was the primary cause of the American Civil War? Correct answer, slavery and states' rights. The Civil War lasted from 1861 to 1865 and resulted in the abolition of slavery in the U.S. 3. Which war featured the famous Battle of Thermopylae? Correct answer, Persian Wars. The Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BCE involved 300 Spartan warriors holding off a massive Persian army. 4th. Which war was known as the War of the Roses in England? Correct answer, English Civil War. The War of the Roses, 1455 to 1487, was a series of dynastic battles between the houses of Lancaster and York. 5. What war ended with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles? Correct answer, World War I. Signed in 1919, the Treaty of Versailles imposed heavy reparations on Germany. 6. Which war included the infamous Battle of Gettysburg? Correct answer, American Civil War. The Battle of Gettysburg in 1863 was a turning point for the Union forces. 7. Which war is known for the use of trench warfare on the Western Front? Correct answer, World War I. Trench warfare became infamous for its brutal conditions and high casualty rates. 8. Which war saw the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941? Correct answer, World War II. The surprise attack by Japan led to the U.S. entering World War II. 9. What was the main reason for the start of the Gulf War in 1990? Correct answer, the invasion of Kuwait by Iraq. Iraq's invasion of Kuwait prompted a coalition-led response in Operation Desert Storm. 10. Which war is often referred to as the Great Patriotic War in Russia? Correct answer, World War II. This term reflects the Soviet Union's fight against Nazi Germany from 1941 to 1945. 11. Which war saw the first widespread use of tanks in combat? Correct answer, World War I. Tanks were first deployed during the Battle of the Somme in 1916. 12. Which ancient war involved the famous Trojan horse strategy? Correct answer, Trojan War. The Trojan horse was a Greek ploy to enter and conquer Troy. 13. Which war led to the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party? Correct answer, World War I. The Treaty of Versailles' harsh reparations contributed to political unrest in Germany. 14. Which war saw the famous naval battle of Lepanto in 1571? Correct answer, Ottoman-Habsburg Wars. The Battle of Lepanto was a major naval engagement where the Holy League defeated the Ottoman Empire. 15th. Which war saw the famous D-Day landings in Normandy? Correct answer, World War II. D-Day on June 6, 1944, marked the beginning of the Allied liberation of Western Europe. You're doing amazing so far. Ready to take your knowledge to the next level? Let's dive into the medium level and discover even more about history's most intriguing conflicts. 16th. Which war was known for the infamous Trail of Tears? Correct answer, Indian Removal Conflict. The Trail of Tears refers to the forced relocation of Native American tribes in the 1830s, causing thousands of deaths. 17. Which war ended with the signing of the Treaty of Ghent in 1814? Correct answer, War of 1812. The Treaty of Ghent restored relations between the US and Britain, but did not address pre-war issues like impressment. 18. Which war was sparked by the Boston Tea Party? Correct answer, American Revolutionary War. The Boston Tea Party in 1773 protested British taxation, fueling revolutionary sentiment in the American colonies. 19. What war was fought between Athens and Sparta? Correct answer, Peloponnesian War. This ancient Greek war, 431 to 404 BCE, ended with Spartan victory and marked the decline of Athenian dominance. 20. What war was the Battle of Stalingrad a part of? Correct answer, World War II. The Battle of Stalingrad, 1942 to 1943, was a turning point in World War II, resulting in heavy losses for Nazi Germany. 21. Which European war included the Battle of Agincourt? Correct answer, 100 Years' War. The Battle of Agincourt in 1415 is famous for the English longbow's decisive role. 22. What war resulted in the fall of Constantinople in 1453? Correct answer, Byzantine-Ottoman Wars. The fall of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottoman Empire. 23. Which Asian country fought the First Sino-Japanese War? Correct answer, China. This war, 1894 to 1895, established Japan as a dominant regional power. 24. What was the name of the US strategy to stop the spread of communism during the Cold War? Correct answer, containment. The US policy of containment aimed to prevent the expansion of Soviet influence globally. 25. Which war was fought between 1950 and 1953, involving North and South Korea? Correct answer, Korean War. The Korean War ended with an armistice but no formal peace treaty, leaving the peninsula divided to this day. 26. Which war included the Siege of Leningrad? Correct answer, World War II. The Siege of Leningrad, 1941 to 1944, lasted 872 days and resulted in over 1 million civilian deaths. 27. Which war resulted in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo? Correct answer. Mexican-American War. Signed in 1848, this treaty led to the U.S. acquiring present-day California, Arizona, and New Mexico. 28th. What was the primary goal of the Crusades? Correct answer. To reclaim the Holy Land. The Crusades were a series of religious wars, 1095 to 1291, to recover Jerusalem from Muslim control. 29th. Which war was triggered by the invasion of Poland in 1939? Correct answer. World War II. Germany's invasion of Poland led Britain and France to declare war on Germany, starting the II. 30. Which African war was Nelson Mandela involved in bringing to an end? Correct answer. Apartheid struggle. Nelson Mandela's leadership helped end apartheid, a system of racial segregation in South Africa. Fantastic work! You've conquered the medium level. Now get ready for the hard level. These next questions will push your knowledge to its limits. Are you ready? Let's dive in. 31. What war saw the infamous Charge of the Light Brigade? Correct answer. Crimean War. The Charge of the Light Brigade, 1854, was a disastrous cavalry charge during the Battle of Balaclava, immortalized by Tennyson's poem. 32. Which war ended with the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648? Correct answer. 30 Years' War. The Treaty of Westphalia marked the end of religious wars in Europe and established the concept of state sovereignty. 33. Which war included the famous Battle of Midway? Correct answer. World War II. The Battle of Midway, 1942, was a turning point in the Pacific, with U.S. forces decisively defeating Japan. 34. What war included the Siege of Yorktown? Correct answer. American Revolutionary War. The Siege of Yorktown, 1781, was the final major battle of the American Revolution, leading to British surrender. 35. Which conflict was known as the War to End All Wars? Correct answer. World War I. This nickname reflected hopes that WWI's devastation would prevent future wars, though it was not to be. 36. Which war was fought over the Falkland Islands in 1982? Correct answer. Falklands War. The Falklands War was fought between Argentina and the United Kingdom over the disputed islands in the South Atlantic. 37. What war ended with the Treaty of Paris in 1783? Correct answer. American Revolutionary War. The treaty recognized U.S. independence from Britain and defined its borders. 38. Which war saw the largest tank battle in history? Correct answer. World War II, Battle of Kursk. The Battle of Kursk in 1943 was the largest tank battle ever, with thousands of tanks engaged. 39. What war was the Berlin airlift a part of? Correct answer. Cold War. The Berlin airlift, 1948 to 1949, supplied West Berlin with vital goods during a Soviet blockade. 40. Which war was famously depicted in the film All Quiet on the Western Front? Correct answer, World War I. This classic novel and film highlight the grim realities of trench warfare during World War I. 41. What war included the famous Battle of Trafalgar? Correct answer, Napoleonic Wars. Admiral Horatio Nelson led the British Navy to victory against French and Spanish fleets in 1805. 42. Which war began in 1947 and led to the partition of India and Pakistan? Correct answer, Indian independence struggle. The partition displaced millions and caused widespread violence between Hindus and Muslims. 43. Which war saw the rise of Joan of Arc as a national heroine? Correct answer, 100 Years' War. Joan of Arc's leadership inspired France to victory at Orleans in 1429 before her capture and execution. 44. Which war included the famous Zulu victory at the Battle of Isandlwana? Correct answer, Anglo-Zulu War. The 1879 battle was one of the few times a native force defeated a modern European army. 45. Which war included the Tet Offensive? Correct answer, Vietnam War. The Tet Offensive, 1968, was a major turning point in the Vietnam War, undermining U.S. public support. Outstanding work! You've conquered the hard level. Now it's time for the impossible level, featuring the most challenging questions yet. Are you ready to test your ultimate knowledge? Let's continue. 46. Which war holds the record for the highest number of fatalities in human history? Correct answer, World War II. World War II caused an estimated 70 to 85 million deaths, approximately 3% of the world's population at the time. 47. Which war involved the first known use of biological warfare? Correct answer, Siege of Kaffa, 1347. During the Siege of Kaffa, Mongols catapulted plague-infected corpses into the city, spreading the Black Death. 48. What war is known for the longest continuous battle in history? Correct answer, World War I, Battle of Verdun. The Battle of Verdun, 1916, lasted nearly 10 months, becoming one of the most grueling battles of World War I. 49. Which war saw the first recorded naval battle? Correct answer, Battle of the Delta, circa 1175 BCE. The ancient Egyptians, led by Pharaoh Ramses III, defeated the Sea Peoples in one of history's earliest naval battles. 50. Which war is considered the first global conflict? Correct answer, 7 Years' War. The 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, involved major powers across Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia, shaping global geopolitics. Congratulations on completing Guess the War. Test your knowledge of global conflicts. How many did you get right? Share your score in the comments and let us know which war fact surprised you the most. If you enjoyed this quiz, hit subscribe to support our channel and stay tuned for more fun and educational quizzes. Challenge your friends and family to see who's the ultimate history expert. Let's keep learning together. See you in the next quiz.